Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Welcome once more to another video podcast of Alexandra Mayers Live. Today we are going to get into Chapter 8 of the recently departed Shelley Lubben's book, The Truth Behind the Fantasy of Porn, the Greatest Illusion on Earth. Now, Chapter 8 is titled Psycho Stripper, and I do highly encourage all of my newer viewers to check out my commentaries on chapters 1 through 7 prior to listening to this chapter, Chapter 8. I became a bona fide insane sexual psychopath, a survivor of years of verbal and physical abuse from men, unwanted pregnancies, drugs and alcohol, homelessness, near-death experiences, attempted rapes, a daring escape from Mexico, and as of late, a psycho boyfriend. I had completely lost my mind and heart to the soul-sucking sex industry. Any last piece of Shelley that was left was my stubborn will to survive. I continued the vicious cycle of sex work and tried my luck again in Hollywood. I was burned out from the crazy Hispanic environment of flying beer bottles and mariachi mamas, so I attempted to settle down into the dull, boring world of sleazy white men. Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood was called the Strip for more than a few reasons. Besides being the most famous street for rock and roll clubs, rocker restaurants, and the Rock Walk, Sunset was also known for its beautiful strippers. Hot, long-legged, sexy blonde strippers. I hated working there. First of all, I didn't have big boobs. I was a natural B cup, while every woman around me was at least a D cup. Natural or not, boobs mattered to men, especially white men. Mexican men were more attracted to personality, looks, and performance, although a curved backside was a plus. But white men didn't like me very much. I was a crazy white girl who could dance, not some floozy who put on a $10 peep show. I couldn't stand still long enough to give anyone a peep show. Okay, sure, I gave customers a little peekaboo once in a while for the right amount of cash. But other than that, I was an interpretive dancer, not a floor whore. Denial enters. The strip clubs in Hollywood were worse than prostitution as far as I was concerned. Seedy and quiet, sleazy, cheap men hung dollar bills over the side of the stage to get a worm's eye view of a naked woman spreading her legs. To make things worse, women wrapped their exposed bodies around stripper poles with God knows how many vaginal fluids we all had to share. Yuck. I just couldn't stomach the Hollywood strip clubs. They were dirty, sleazy, and a breeding ground for disease. I'm going to pause here. Isn't it interesting that at this point in her life, and even when she wrote this book, Shelley was fixated on the transmission of disease within the sex industry, not only within the porn industry, but within the exotic dancer clubs. From my perspective, her mindset was ahead of its time because, especially considering this coronavirus pandemic, which is global, that we're all currently dealing with, I really hope that a lot of the adult clubs, whether they be strip clubs or otherwise, do tighten up their hygienic practices because, as I was saying in some previous videos, I think that it is a bit of the hookup culture and just people not practicing proper sanitary habits that has led to the pandemic that we're all contending with today. I just couldn't stomach the Hollywood strip clubs. They were dirty, sleazy, and a breeding ground for disease. Not to mention, the competition was stiffer than the drinks. Hollywood blonde hopefuls lined up at the bar every night, with their long, beautiful hair and big breasts. And this is an interesting comment that she makes too, because she's basically outlining how a lot of women initially come out to Hollywood to be mainstream starlets, mainstream actresses, but they don't make it. So they end up in the strip clubs. And that is in part, from my perspective, how the strip clubs do recruit. They utilize the mainstream Hollywood industry. The mainstream Hollywood industry, I mean, realistically, the only way that you're going to make it is if you're related to somebody, if you're married to somebody, or if you're sleeping with the right person. But they don't tell you that. Reason being that the people behind the scenes in Hollywood do want that consistent influx of new sex workers. So, something to think about for the young women out there who do want to be mainstream actresses. I actually encourage individuals who want to be mainstream actresses to find someone who's an independent filmmaker and work with them. Don't fly out to Hollywood with stars in your eyes thinking that you're going to be the next Meryl Streep and automatically in high budget mainstream movies. And the beauty actually about the internet today is that high budget movies aren't necessarily the most popular movies anymore. Things like Netflix, Amazon Prime, YouTube, they've leveled the playing field. So anyone can be successful without having to sleep their way to the top. There was no way to make money, especially on a Friday night when 50 girls showed up to work. I was lucky if I even danced one set before the night was over. In order to make money in these clubs, girls had to be absolutely gorgeous or hustle drinks, offer peeks at their privates, and give a hand job or two, where applicable. No, the Hollywood strip clubs weren't for me. I might as well go back to prostitution if I was going to put on peep shows for dollar bills. What other choice did I have? Frustrated, I walked by a newspaper stand one day and saw the LA Express paper through the glass. A plethora of sexy ads. I browsed through hundreds of women offering massage, private dances, companionship, and more. It was so tempting, I thought. The low voice interrupted my thoughts. And the men would come to you, and you wouldn't have to work as hard. You would have more freedom. I argued back in my head, yeah, but it's extremely illegal. I could go to prison for running a prostitution house. The small voice overrode mine. But you're too smart to get busted. You've never been caught before, Shelley. So I agreed with the voice, whoever it was. I was so crazy and intoxicated most of the time, I didn't even notice when I was talking to myself. The following month, I got an 800 number and worked up the nerve to go to the LA Express building on La Brea, where I submitted an ad with a huge picture of me and some girl fondling each other. Oh yeah, I thought, my ad was definitely going to get noticed. And I was right. My phone was ringing off the hook. Hello? I answered in a sexy voice. A man on the other end. I spoke softly to him. Why, thank you. Yes, of course, you can have 2 girls. Yes, it's $300 an hour per girl. Sure, sweetie, we can do that. I can't wait to meet you either. By now, I was a proven hustler. I was also a raging alcoholic, drug user, horrible mother, and suicidal. Sure, I was good at hiding it because I had built up powerful defense mechanisms over the years. I was an expert at denial. I was also a 19-year veteran liar fluent in English and Spanish. not to mention some Italian, Arabic, Chinese, Japanese, and whatever else language the hundreds of men I slept with spoke. Oh yeah, I made my rounds. I was a hooker in Los Angeles, home to one of the largest multi-ethnic populations in the world, where I became an expert in matters of culture, drugs, nightlife, prostitution, and men. All right, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here. I lived a crazy, indecent, unsanitary, indescribable life. Jack Daniels regularly in my veins. One of the craziest things I ever did was drive topless during the day with the convertible top down. When a cop pulled me over in my red Miata for drunk driving, I performed the walk and turn DUI test perfectly. I was a stripper, for crying out loud. When he proceeded to test my motor skill abilities, I blurted out the alphabet backwards, faster than any human being alive. I thought I was invincible, and I was out to prove it to the world. Until one fateful night, when I was finishing up a shopping day with a sugar daddy, and I saw cop cars all around my apartment building. I knew they were for me. I instructed my sugar daddy, aka slave, to do exactly as I said, and to pretend to be my husband, and that Tiffany was our daughter. We approached my apartment cautiously and blamelessly, of course. I was a married woman now, with child. I had to play the part. "Hello, excuse me, officer, what's going on?" I humbly asked as I entered my apartment. "Ma'am, are you the occupant of this apartment?" "Yes, sir. My husband, my daughter, and I live here," I said as I gracefully stepped onto the front doormat. "I don't understand, officer. Is there something wrong?" I leaned in closer with a sincere look of concern. "Ma'am, do you run a massage agency here?" The cop asked me straight out. Damn, I thought. I immediately responded, "Of course not. Why would you ask us that?" "Well, there's a girl upstairs who was tied and raped at gunpoint in your bed, and she claims you run a massage agency here." Ugh, that stupid bitch, I cursed in my mind. She was going to get me busted. But filled with the will to see the sun rise again, I explained to the kind officer that my husband and I were embarrassed, but we picked up the young woman at a strip bar the night before when she explained to us she had nowhere to stay. It was only supposed to be for the night, we told the officer. Luckily, he believed my story, but I never wanted to live that close to the edge again, so I stopped taking calls for a while. I won't read the rest of this. I want all of you to purchase this book from Amazon.com and read it for yourself. It is available for download through Amazon Kindle. But may she rest in peace. Shelley Lubben, she really lived one hell of a life, and she tried to teach people the dangers of what a lot of her life entailed. And as an independent investigative blogger, when it comes to issues pertaining to the adult entertainment industry today, I still see that too few listen to what she had to say. She wasn't perfect, but she had a message. And her message was basically to respect yourself and to love yourself and to realize that there's far greater options out there for everyone aside from the adult entertainment industry. I think a lot of people are under the impression that I'm out to stop people from entering the adult entertainment industry. I'm only out to stop people who I feel think along the lines that I do. Not everybody. The adult entertainment industry is a lesson that I feel some people are meant to learn. And the adult entertainment industry is also a sort of a prison for a certain type of person who, from my perspective, never needs to leave. So, as you continue to follow me, keep that in mind when it comes to who I am and how I think. So take care, everyone. Thanks for watching this video, and have a wonderful day. And remember, stay safe, social distance, and remember that your voice does matter. Bye-bye.